Today's Hey TEVES, friends, and as I mentioned in the voice note, that the hero, we don't say heroine anymore. That's I don't think we say heroine anymore for a female hero. Do we? Yimio? Is that word still acceptable or not? I don't think so. Akoponim, so the hero in Hey TEVES, of course, as we all know, was the REBBITZIN. When the REBBITZIN was asked pointedly by the lawyer, the Svarim of your father that he had in 770 in his office and in the basement of 770, to who do they belong, to him or to the Chassidim? And she answered, the Svarim belong to the Chassidim because my father belongs to the Chassidim. And that is the essence of the whole court case. So stories with the REBBITZIN here. This is a very powerful story. So once someone came to the REBBITZIN Chaim Mushke and asked, this happened, that she should please bring his request for a bracha for someone who was very sick to the Rebbe. And then he asked her subsequently whether she thinks that he also should go to the oil. This was years ago. And her response was, mein Mann weiß allein was man darf tun. You asked the Rebbe, you'll wait for instructions from him, he'll tell you. He knows what has to be done. It's quite telling. That's it. There's nothing more that needs. And now the story with the REBBITZIN. Someone has to mute themselves. I don't know what, I can't see who it is.
It's Yirmiyahu.
It's Yirmiyahu, so I'll just do it for him. Okay. He just did. Okay. Another story is a more famous story. She once said this to one of the fellows that worked in the house. She said, we have a tray from the Tzemach Tzedek that we got as a gift from Hardenstein. I mean, Moishe Hardenstein, she's referring to, was a son-in-law of the Rebbe Marash. And his son, Menachem Mendel, married the Rebbe Shene, daughter of the Frierdiker Rebbe who was murdered in Treblinka with her husband. So they got this from, in other words, she got this from her sister's father-in-law. But she said she never used it. It was a tray to put on the Shabbos licht, and she never did it. And these are her words. How is it me, a simple woman, to use such matters? I look at it from time to time, and I remember my connection to the Mishpacha. That's exactly what we're learning here. The Bittul of Malchus. She describes herself as a simple woman. I should use such a tray, but I look at it from time to time, and I feel the connection to the family. Wow. Now the story here. It's a pity they don't see who the people were. I heard at the time what they were. It just makes it more. It was one winter night, and someone had visited the REBBITZIN, and she's walking him to the door, and she says, when I remember that you have to go in a moment to the street, I become cold even now. Als ich dem Manzig, als ihr darf gehen auf dem Gas, wird mir jetzt kalt. The Bittul of Malchus, the complete empathy, typical of the REBBITZIN. I'll conclude. Okay, I won't conclude. It's already late, so I'll stop here. Okay. Story with my mother, Zolzan Gesund. I've told you the story. I'll say it quickly. When my mother visited the REBBITZIN, she would visit the REBBITZIN when she came to America. I was with my Zayda because of the relationship, the family relationship. So on one occasion, my mother said to the REBBITZIN, one of her visits, that the Rebbe looks tired. She would never talk about the Rebbe, realizing that just you don't talk about. She said. So the Rebbe responded, yes, he works very hard. So my mother said, why don't you go dache? My mother's coming from Australia. This is in the 80s or early 80s. The world wasn't it is today, such a small world. Everybody knows everything. My mother knows that Lubavitcher Rebbe went on dacha, the vacation, all of them. So for her, it was a perfectly natural question. Not living in New York, not knowing, anybody who lives in New York would know it's completely unthinkable the Lubavitcher Rebbe vacation. But in her innocence, and so the Rebbitzins immediate response, and this is her brilliance and her midas, how do you answer such a question? It's completely left field. It's just not on the radar. Like my husband vacation or a smile like you've got to be kidding. Nothing like that. Instantly she answered, she said, you'd have to take a mountain of books with him. So it's not practical. It's a kesher to TEVES, the Rebbe's life, the books. And so it's a great suggestion, but it's not practical. I have to tell you, my mother's Azam gesund und stark. When she told me the story, she didn't realize what happened here. How the question was completely, and how the Rebbitzin had so brilliantly and respectfully embraced the question, answered it. My mother felt good, and we are the recipients of a beautiful story connected to TEVES, a mountain with Svarim. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Good Yontif. We should be zeicher to the ultimate Yidan Notzach and Mashiach Tzidkenu. The Rebbe at our head and all of our loved ones reunited forever. Yidan Notzach, as in Notzach Nitzchi, eternal victory. Amen.